Hey guys, this is Joel with the Fincastle Pokemon Gym. Today we are looking at a fun deck, and I referenced the long game in the title because this is not a deck that will provide quick results, unless you count people quitting against you online as a quick result. If Lycanroc EX or a Lycanroc the Pokemon is one of your favorite Pokemon, or you just like playing a longer game with friends that will surely lead to some laughs, then this is your deck. I would not take this one to a competitive event unless the format suddenly shifts to something that is fighting weak, just because you probably can't get through 2 wins in a best 2 out of 3 situation very easily with this one. The last caveat is the big one-hitters like Chien Pao, Goldingo, Gardevoir EX will probably run over this one, but those that hit for 280 or less are going to probably find this one pretty frustrating, as it can body those hits and then heal, all the while punishing you for attacking it. And let's look at why. Lycanroc has 2 attacks, Rock Throw for 40, which maybe can set up a KO later or knock out a Bidoof, but the focus is Scary Fangs. Scary Fangs does 140 damage, and if Lycanroc is damaged on your opponent's next turn, you put 10 damage counters on whoever attacked it. We typically activate the attack with a double turbo energy, which does reduce its output by 20, which is not great. But even with that, it is effectively dealing 220 damage if not caught around. The rest of the deck is focused on extending the life of each Lycanroc. You're already at 260 HP. We add a Rock Chest Plate, which reduces damage by 30. Then Lake Acuity, which can reduce damage dealt to Lycanroc by another 20, meaning that your opponent has to deal 310 damage to KO him, which is pretty beefy for a stage 1. To further complicate things, we're going to heal Lycanroc with Oricorio, with its Ardent Dancing ability, and with Radiant Serena, or both. The Oricorio ability is stackable, but it only heals the active, whilst Radiant Serena heals 20 from everybody but just once a turn. Typically we set a field where 3 healers are in play, healing 60 per turn. Late game you can get to 4, and that's not very typical with it. 60 is kind of more what you can expect. I like to go through the plates and make my opponent use resources to remove them, then later in the game equip Hero's Cape to extend Lycanroc's HP to 360, which can make the task of taking out Lycanroc in 1 turn very difficult for most decks. Although I do like to put that cape on B-Barrel when you play against a Lost Zone deck, because that takes him up to 220 and usually means they don't try to go after him with Sableye. The last little treasure is Bianca's Devotion, which can completely heal Lycanroc when it is within 30 damage of being knocked out. I like to call this card Bianca's Rage Quit, as that's usually what it induces. Everything else is pretty standard, so let's go ahead and just take a look at how the deck works with some gameplay. The first match is against the future deck with all of the irons. All the iron Pokemon will pick it up on the 2nd turn for a pretty standard setup. I hit the Iron Crown EX for only 90 because that is fighting resistance, but I still set up that 100 damage reflex if attacked. See, they get 2 Iron Valiant EX in play, which in this deck I believe are the main attackers in this list. And then they do the switchy thing and place the 20 damage counters from those guys and try to take out the Bidoof and miss it. I hit heads on the Aroma and get B-Barrel, but before evolving I'm going to use that Bianca's Devotion and go ahead and heal my my Bidoof, as it's the main draw supports. I don't want them to be able to take that out. I do use Ultra Ball to get the 2nd Lycanroc EX in play. Hopefully that's all we'll need for the match. Use B-Barrel, you get Radiant Serena in play, and then I attack for 120, setting up the damage trap again. They switch, get 20 damage on my active, and then attack with the Miraidon to charge the Iron Valiant EX. It's 100 with the all of the crown boosts, 70 after the chest plate, and then they take the 100 damage. I put Lake Acuity in play, heal 20. Go ahead and put the cape on the bench Lycanroc, and then Ultra Ball to get another Oricorio and heal another 20. I'll refill my hand with B-Barrel. I get Boss. Grab the damage Valiant. I'll get another Oricorio and heal another 20 damage. And then I'm going to take the knockout with Lycanroc and set the trap again. They get another Iron Valiant, place 40 damage, but through the switching, which is vital because with all the boosts from the Iron Crowns, they can hit for 260, which is reduced by 50, giving them 210, which is just enough to knock me out, but they still take the 100 damage in return. This puts us into the all-in on one Lycanroc EX basket. So I benched the third Oricorio. I started attaching extra energy because if I get a switch in hand, I want to be able to pay that retreat cost with a double turbo and get rid of it, increase my damage output by 20. Draw again with B-Barrel, nothing that I need, so I take this knockout and set the damage trap once again. They attack with Miraidon for 80, and after all of the pluses and minuses, and charge the really shiny Iron Valiant, but in the process they knock themselves out. And I get Grant out of the prizes here, which is a very important card to talk about, and I'll do that later. They send up an Iron Crown, which can take a better hit for them. I attach again, hoping to be able to retreat that double off, put back a boss and Bianca. Play the Grant to increase my damage by 30, and then heal off 80 more damage. After the healing there, I'm going to refill my hand one more time with B-Barrel. And then we'll hit for 120 after all the math again. I think this is where my opponent realizes they didn't have a way to switch the Crown EX out. They're out of future booster capsules, have no energy to de-evolve me or retreat, so they pass. I heal back all the way, but as you can see, I am 10 damage short of the KO, which is why I wanted to take that double off, but Grant is there to save the day. I get him back out and boost Sharp Fangs by 30, which is enough for the knockout and the game. So you can see a little of the path that you have to walk down to win with this, and frankly I enjoy a longer back and forth game like this because it's good exercise for your mind. Speaking of long games, I'm going to take you to this match against the new Scizor EX about 12 minutes into it. It's a very similar deck to Lycanroc EX, using Rigid Band to reduce damage by 30 and Full Metal Lab to reduce another 30. Scizor hits for 240, then recharges with Matang, so it looks like a pretty fun deck to explore as well. And by this point we've exchanged some damage. I've trapped a B-Barrel so they couldn't retreat for a couple turns to buy me some time to heal and set up a little more. They hit my second Lycanroc, putting them in a better position. So I start healing. I use the double turbo to retreat. Then I'm going to heal some more. And thin my hand with the Ultra Ball to draw a boss and a Bianca. And then I'm going to hit for 110, which is reduced by their Rigid Band. They get a second Scizor into play and then hit me for a reduced 190 damage, taking me to 240, and taking 100 from the Scary Fangs trap. I attach a double turbo to the bench Lycanroc, then I use Bianca's determination to erase that 240 damage. I also heal my bench Lycanroc. Then I'm going to hit their active for the first knockout of the game, and then also set that damage trap again. They get their first Full Metal Lab in play, meaning they're now reducing my damage by 60 and hit me for 210. I do another round of healing, play Colress to get Grant, Hero's Cape, and switch. As you can see, I'm only hitting for 80, but it's enough to bring them within 100 damage of knocking themselves out by hitting me again. They miss attachments from both Matang here. They attach from their hand, then they use Prime Catcher to try and trap my B-Barrel. And then they're just going to end their turn with Rotom V's ability. I heal another round from Oricorio. The second Oricorio. And then from Radiant Serena. Attached to the bench there. And put the Hero's Cape on the bench Lycanroc. I'm going to go ahead and play Grant, I don't need it for the damage, but by getting it into the discard pile, I know where it is. I'll take that knockout and set the damage tramp once again. They're unable to get another attacker in play, so they have to attack my active, take their first knockout of the game finally, but then they also knock themselves out in the process because of Scary Fang's damage trap there. It comes back to me, I heal one more time all the way around, which I guess probably wasn't necessary. This game's been going on so long, I just doing this out of habit at this point. I'm going to go ahead and get the Grant back out of the discard pile. Because with that that Full Metal Lab, I'm only hitting for 90. That lets me get to 120. I'll use that to knock out the Matang and take the last prize, and finally the game. I wanted to return to look at Grant one more time. With the low output from Lycanroc EX, his 30 damage is essential in getting key knockouts, as you saw in many of these matches. Also, once he's in the discard pile, he's very handy to use to thin your hand, which makes your B-barrel draw better as the game goes along. Also gets rid of cards you just don't need anymore. For the deck as a whole, if it did a little more damage, or if it wasn't handicapped by the double turbo energy reducing it even further, I think it would be pretty interesting in this format. As it stands, it is probably too slow for a tournament environment. However, if you have folks at your league or at home that don't want to just play format meta all the time, build this guy and enjoy it. It's cheap to put together. It really does make you think, and heck, for the kiddies out there, it makes you do math all through the game. Fun and educational. What more could you ask for from your friendly neighborhood werewolf Pokemon? Anyway, thanks for checking this one out. Take a moment and like and subscribe. Be not afraid. Later.